Hello and welcome back to another out of spec detailing video. You guys find me down in Alabama where I'm going to be here for the next week or so detailing a few cars on the road, 1,000+ miles away from the shop back in northern Colorado. And one of those vehicles is this 2026 Rivian R1T Quad Launch Edition. In today's video, we're going to be doing a full build quality review with this thing where we walk around the exterior, get a feel for the fit and finish, compare it to previous Rivians we've had here on this channel. We'll then jump inside, talk a lot about Rivian's beautiful interior, the fit and finish, and see how things are feeling for 2026. Welcome back, and let's jump into it. Before we jump into our fit and finish review, let's quickly talk about pricing and specs for the quad motor Rivian R1T. So this being a launch edition sits right at $119,990, i.e. $120,000. There are only two variants you can get of the launch edition. This one being the Storm Blue with the slate sky interior. Launch green is also back, the only way to get launch green on the R1T Quad with the Black Mountain interior. You could also choose some different wheel and tire options, but this sitting right at $120,000. Now the R1T Quad you can also spec in different colors for the non-launch edition. That starts at about $116,000. Then you start adding on some options, you can be pushing north of that $120,000. On paper though, the specs are truly crazy. As the name suggests, being a quad motor, this has 4 motors all underneath here, all in-house designed by Rivian, and that pushes out 1,025 horsepower. This is over a 7,000-pound truck, and on this 22-inch Super Sport wheel and tire package, 0 to 60 in just 2.5 seconds, which is truly insane to say the least. Now range of course does take a little hit with these big sticky summer tires on here, 338 miles in the trim configuration we have here. Now Rivian has been a company we've followed for many years now, really since kind of the beginning of them producing these vehicles, and we've had them on this channel quite a bit talking about build quality and fit and finish. We of course on the team, Kyle owns a first generation Rivian R1T, a pretty early build, and I gotta say for build quality and fit and finish I was really impressed. It almost felt like they were building these trucks and the R1S at the time as well almost by hand, and not in a bad way, in a very good way, meaning that panel gaps and the fit and finish was very precise inside, very little rattles throughout. Then production ramp hit and we started to see a lot of the things I would say was a challenge for Rivian. A lot of panels not fitting properly, actually some metal body panels touching each other, coming directly out of the factory, taking paint off of them, and just some oddities throughout. Producing cars is a very complicated, very complex system, and having that millimeter precision is not always top priority for a lot of companies, but in my feelings, with a vehicle at this price point, it needs to be really tight. Now earlier this year, I actually had the opportunity to fly out to the Rivian factory and do a full factory tour with Kyle Connor, of course, and we have a video, I'll leave it in the link in the description of this, where we toured the entire production floor, excluding some areas like the paint factory and things like that. We toured with the head of manufacturing at Rivian, and what I learned there is they are really starting to get to the point that quality checks are very important through them. So having it multiple points throughout the line, it was very interesting to see how still unautomated, I guess, a lot of the putting together of these vehicles is. By walking through the production line, I expected it to just be like pumping cars out, all robots, but is really impressive and surprising, I guess, at the same time, that they had so many people putting these vehicles together. So I'm very curious to check this out. Join me as we do our full build quality review. Let's start our review off on the exterior, and that's one of the things that I was honestly kind of surprised about with the Quad, is they didn't go crazy on it. They didn't come in here and put a bunch of wide bodies on it and make it look that much different. In fact, if you park a base model R1T next to this, you would be very hard pressed to tell which one almost costs double the base model one. And that's something that I kind of love, being that it's a 1,025 horsepower sleeper. but that I also think at this price point, these should have kind of that BMW M characteristic or Mercedes-Benz AMG characteristic. There's not really much way to tell this is a quad coming down the road unless you spot the new Laguna blue colored brake calipers, same braking package you find on all of the lower trim models. You also have the nice blue accents here in the Rivian logo on the side. Coming back here, you can also see we've got one of the coolest logos ever, Gear Guard Gary, and then the subtle quad in the R1T. So I don't know, what do you guys think? Should Rivian have gone crazy, done it kind of like a wide body, some different bumpers and things to make it look different, or do you like the sleeper nature of it? I think it's pros and cons on both sides. Nonetheless, let's jump into our fit and finish here. So what we're going to do throughout this, we're just going to look at panel gaps. I'll tell you some things Rivian has struggled with in the past, see how they've improved, and hopefully not gone backwards anywhere. So let's start off here on the very large front trunk. This has been an issue they've really struggled on. This being powered up here, it's a very heavy hood, and a lot of the times what I've seen issues with is this rear sink quite a bit because all of the mechanical nature up here, all the hydraulic parts to actually open this up really cause this to sink. This one is a little bit lower, but importantly, the fit and finish here is looking really nice. This one's down ever so slightly. You can see my finger kind of come down a little bit, but this one's actually looking really good. Let's come over here to the driver's side, and this is one of the best executed I've seen from Rivian. Fit and finish great throughout there, looking really fantastic. You'll see that this kind of opens up a bit compared to up there. As you can see, there's a little play. I could get that a little bit tighter. I would say this is totally passable. Another area they've struggled with is on the front end here, getting this all perfectly aligned. I've seen basically this cutout here be a little off center, be a little up. This actually looks great throughout. Compared to both sides, looking really nice. Another area that's been a struggle, this front bumper. I see a lot of them come through my shop where this front piece is kind of sticking out a little bit. Fit and finish looks great there throughout. Even this bumper to front fender alignment, look at the precision here. Really nice. One area Rivian has always been good at, I don't know for whatever reason, this entire front lower bumper section. It's always been like millimeter perfect throughout. The way that the plastic fits into here, the way this piece fits. This is also slightly different material, which I much prefer over the first generation. The only area I've seen up here where I've had some fit and finish issues are some clips that may be sticking out a little, so it doesn't feel like that's fully clipped in. This one looking perfect throughout. Zero gripes up front. Now coming over here to the charge port, can already tell you we've got a little bit of fit and finish issues here. So you can see this is almost touching up front here. Check out that gap back there. I'd like to see that slide up a little bit. Rivian has very much overcomplicated their charge port, and I'm not sure I'm a huge fan of it. Let's try and open this here. Actually, I think the truck is locked, so let's grab out the key card. Let's grab out the key card. Ooh, did you hear the squeak? Let's do that again. Dang it. These new Gen 2 door handles, man. These Gen 2 door handles. So let's open this up. Now, importantly in here, we have native NACS for 2026, which is really nice. Being able to have, you know, this native port to use the Tesla supercharger network, I think is really nice to have. Now, I'm curious to see, still have the same issue on these charge ports. This whole situation, you can see how the entire housing inside moves. When I just do that, I really wish they would tighten that up. Let's see how this closes. Overly complicated, and again, really tight here. I've seen a lot of paint coming off of Rivians from that area. Again, want to look at this bumper here. Looks like it fits really nice. So front end, I have no real issues, especially with the hood. It's looking good, except for this charge port is not exactly dialed in. Now, trim has always been an area of issue for Rivian. I'm excited to tell you on this one, it's looking really nice. You can see up here, it does have a little room to kind of get sucked in a little bit. Other than that though, back here, looking really nice. Even down here as well, looking very good. Now up here, importantly, this is an area Rivian has also struggled with. with this panel contacting this panel here. So you can see as I open this door here, how tight the tolerances are there. If this isn't perfect, I've seen a lot of it where it actually takes paint off of that inner lip there. Now, what you'll notice, if I actually close this door here, you can see this fender sits out a little bit. I think that is what they have started to do with these, is kind of pull that out a little bit so that the door has enough room to go in. I'm totally fine with that. I would rather have a slight bit of imperfection here instead of taking paint off a door. That's not a good premium experience. Looking down here, fit and finish on that door, man, is looking really, really nice. These plastics down here have been a whirlwind of really good. Some come in that are like nearly perfect. Some are just absolutely horrible. This one is looking pretty good. You'll see the gap here is a little larger than down there. I'm okay with that because if you come back here, this fits absolutely perfect. This one fits absolutely perfect. You can see very flush here, consistent gapping. I think this one up front here that's a little tight at the bottom, I think is totally passable. So big thumbs up from me there. Now Gen 2, of course, got these new door handles that are very squeaky, unfortunately. Apparently they're working on a fix for this. Apparently some people have taken them in, they put some grease in there, it stops, and then after a period of time that squeak comes back. I do think that needs to get fixed. So we're opening these up. They are now electronic instead of fully mechanical. They actually feel okay, I would say, from when I first felt the Gen 2. Let's check out the door thunks. Still a little metallic rattle. I think you can probably hear somewhere in there. Let's check the back one. That sounds really solid. So the front one, it sounds like it's in the handle latch over here. It just kind of rattles when you close it. Just a little bit. It's not bad. It's a nice thunk. Rivian doors, if you don't know, you kind of have to slam them. All of these seals that they have around here, you really got to give these a good shove. Pretty much every time I get in one, I don't close it hard enough because I'm not used to daily driving a Rivian. So moving on here, let's look at some other fit and finish throughout here. All this looking really good, looking great there all the way through here. This area, Rivian, very, very impressive. Look at all that. This is a very complicated area for all manufacturers. You have so many components coming together here that if they start to get off, it kind of messes up this whole area. The only thing I'll slightly say is this back one is sitting slightly out. I think we can give them a pass on that. This all looks fantastic. Moving around here, looking at the door, looking very, very good throughout. Let's check out the gear tunnel. So up here, the button to open this. This is such a cool feature that I'm really, really happy they still have. Having all that extra space that of course can pass through to the other side. Really, really neat. You also of course have some storage in there for some spare tire kit things. I don't know exactly what they have in here, but very, very cool. Close this up. Oh, that is a nice mechanical sound. Reminds me very G-Wagon sound there. And that's a big, big compliment. Looking down here, trim fitting really nice. Look all the way through here. Really nice. Looking back here, this has been a really tough area for them. That looks perfect throughout. Now, one area also that they've struggled, I know I'm walking around saying this area they've struggled, this area they've struggled. I've seen a lot of build quality issues with Rivians, but this is really starting to get well executed here. I have one main complaint so far, and that is really that front charge port. This area though, they've really struggled in getting the tolerances there perfect. This one's not perfect. You can see this little gap here. If you kind of close that up a little bit, look a little bit better. This is 100% passable. Coming back here, we have new tonneau cover. They've had, gosh, 3 iterations of tonneau covers now. And I think they finally did it. I think they finally fixed it. If you remember, the whole point of how they initially had it, it was basically slats like this, maybe 5 of these slats wide, and they would go in and basically behind the back seat in this area here would kind of stack on top of each other. Early trucks started breaking all the time. They had another iteration, I think still had issues, and they finally went to these smaller slats, and they actually work really, really nice. Very quiet. You can still see it jitters a little bit, but I do think it is really, really good on there. Does take a while to open. I think that's great. Very similar to how Tesla has done the Cybertruck one. The Cybertruck one's definitely a lot quicker, but this is a lot quieter actually. So really impressed by that. Again, all the cool stuff you have back here, like the bed lights in there. You also have your air compressor, power ports and things over there, I believe. Pretty cool. Close that down, nice. Let's open up the bed here. Looking good. So I'm curious to see if they have, no, they have not fixed this. So one of the issues with how this area under here is, so you open this latch up and on both sides, they've got basically these two hangers here where it sucks that all in, spare tire area, extra storage, is when you close this, you close it on one side. And as you can see here with how this folds up, it gets caught on there. This one's not as bad, but you have to get that pressed down now. So I really wish they'd go for a center one. I think that would alleviate a lot of it, but this is looking pretty darn good. Close that up, feels very, very nice. Let's check out this. Whoa, really nice throughout. A little bit larger gap here in the lights. I'm curious to see if that translates over here. It's not perfect on the lights, but fit and finish here looking pretty darn good. Way better than I've seen in the past. So that's a good pass for me. Back here, of course, this has the dark out pack. So the emblems being this kind of dark, not quite black, but more of a kind of satin, dark chrome, I guess would be the best way to describe it. Translates down here. You can see a little fit and finish issue there with basically where that tow hitch cover is. I think that could just be how it was put on, but again, that's from the factory. So yeah, would like to see that a little bit better. You can slightly see it sticking out. Moving over here to the passenger side, same area, slight little gap there. I think again, we can probably give that a pass. Fit and finish looking good here. I am though seeing this. Look at the movement there. So that doesn't feel like it's clipped in all the way, especially compared to the other side. This looks great, but again, gap here, it's tight there, gap here. So a little bit off. That could be a little tighter to say the least. Up here, all of this looking good as well. Also looked great on the driver's side. Coming over here, again to the gear tunnel, looking very nice. Fit and finish is really, really good. Down here, I'd say is pretty darn perfect. Down here, perfect. Down here, perfect. Wow. They've really started to dial these in. So let's check this out. Yeah, you can see it doesn't line up perfectly, but importantly, nope, no touching there. Very, very good. Let's come over here. Okay, so we got a little bit of the same situation going on. This is sticking out a little bit. This is looking pretty good. All this is looking nice. I would say that you could probably tighten this up a little bit compared to down here. But overall, man, I would say that is pretty darn good. What do you guys think for, you know, $120,000 vehicle fit and finish? I gotta say pretty darn good. I have very, very little complaints with that. I think it's pretty darn nice. Other than the charge port, I think that's my biggest issue. Let's open this up. I always forget it's on the left side. Boom, open this up so you can see how that's powered there. This is what sucks that whole back end of the front trunk area is. Down here, all looking good. I love this kind of shelf that they've designed here. We also have some nice Tesla accessories in here. Basically how they've done this carpet on one side and done this kind of rubberized feel. So you can just flip that over. That is really, really nice throughout. See how this closes. Really nice and smooth actuation throughout. All right, so let's check out these doors over here. That one sounds way better than the driver's. This is a nice thud here. Whoa. So what's weird is 3 doors sound amazing. The driver's door doesn't. It sounds like something's a little loose in there. This is the best Gen 2 door I've ever heard here, this front passenger. It's a great thud. No real rattle inside of there. So guys, overall, fit and finish for 2026 on the exterior, looking pretty darn impressive. One thing I also want to point out here, we do have a staggered wheel and tire setup on the front versus rear. These are running the Michelin Pilot Sport S5s here. So you can see on the front, we've got a 275/50/22, which is crazy. That's a 22-inch wheel. It looks like a 20 on this. It doesn't look like a 22 to me. And on the back, 305s. Some big boys back here. It's pretty crazy the amount of poke these tires have on the quads. Pretty insane to say the least. You can of course get the dune wheels as well with these. They have a few different wheel and tire options. I think this is pretty darn cool though with those big sticky summer tires. So for me guys, big thumbs up for exterior fit and finish. Well guys, let's jump to honestly one of my favorite parts in Rivians, and that is the interior. The reason I love these so much is they've done such a great design execution as well as material execution. What I mean by that, being a professional detailer, I deal with all sorts of different vinyl leathers, you know, synthetic leathers, up to high-end Napa leathers, up into extremely premium leather interiors. And I will tell you 100%, Rivian has my favorite materials in the automotive industry. The way that it has this feel of being luxury and premium, but also rugged, and the cleanability of it to be able to, you know, throw my dogs in here, take a car hiking and get this completely dirty and then completely clean it is genuinely unbelievable. This being the slate sky, I think they knocked it out of the park. When I first looked at these interiors, I didn't love all of the blue plastics, but I think it's unique. I think it works, especially when you start seeing the contrasting wood here and all the different accents of stitching. It is so impressive. I would really recommend you guys go watch one of Monroe Live's kind of teardown videos of a Rivian interior, where they talk about the amount of complexity Rivian has gone through to make their interiors feel unique, special, premium, and the amount of money they spend on their interior. The way that they are able to do things like get a stitch like this all the way around and it be perfect and not completely wonky and messed up is truly incredible. I'll probably leave that video linked in the description as well. It is pretty impressive to see some people who know a whole heck of a lot about automotive manufacturing and them talking about how much complexity Rivian has given themselves with this interior. But it really pays off. So let's go through the materials here. You guys have probably seen Rivian, but I just want to show you through all of this. So up here we have all this nice soft touch, hard wearing vegan leather material. You've got all of this nice kind of copper accent stitching here. Again, the wood that matches this up here, it feels amazing. This is one of the best feeling woods I've seen in a Rivian. Some of their other ones are more open pore, I guess you could say, and like really snag microfiber towels and something if you're dusting them. For whatever reason, the one that is in the slate sky feels the best. You don't feel a bunch of kind of imperfections in it, but this is all real wood in here, super impressive, and just love the accent. They also have accented lighting that goes behind this. I just love the way they've done this interior. It's well thought out and just so darn nice. So again, stitching here, absolutely perfect. This is all soft touch, hard wearing material. Same down here as well with that copper stitching. Even all the way down here, this is all very nice soft touch materials throughout. That's a big, big thumbs up from me. One area I will tell you that I've seen on a lot of Rivians, and this is kind of feedback for Rivian or feedback for owners if you're concerned about it. If you're somebody who kicks your foot into speaker grills and things like this all the time, I have seen so many of these dented by just people getting out, smacking their foot on it. Seems to probably be, to me, anodized aluminum, something like that, and really can dent up quickly. Moving over here into the high wear interior areas, I guess you could say, the door handles. Importantly, these do not feel crunchy. They feel extremely solid. I feel like maybe a slight bit of crunch, but these are like super heavy duty, very, very solid. All of the switch gear here feels very, very nice. Now, Kyle, funny enough, and I was the same way when the new Gen 2s came out, hated the electronic door situation here. I like the mechanical one they had on Gen 1, which you do still have mechanical here, but this is the one you use to get out every day essentially. And he has been telling me since he's been driving the Gen 2 that Scott has a lot more, and his new Gen 2 R1S base model, that he's starting to prefer these. So maybe Rivian was right and we were all wrong. But door card here, exceptional, really, really impressive. One area I would like to see Rivian change is this situation down here. The reason I say that is for cleanability. This is the one area that Rivian interior is not great. The reason being is this entire plastic piece here, you can see has quite a big gap all the way around it. If you're somebody who goes off-roading or just honestly daily wear and tear, you pick up little pebbles, they get completely stuck in here and you can't vacuum it out. You can't really pick them out. What you actually have to do is pop this entire piece off, take off all of these hex screws underneath there, pop that out, clean it, put it all back together. Not a great solution. I would like to see this redesigned at some point. Very small nitpick, but one of those things that when everything else looks perfect and you've got a ton of pebbles in here, it does get kind of annoying. Moving on here to the seats. Yeah, they're just awesome seats. One thing I'm noticing though on this one, what's going on with that situation there? That's not looking great, is it? Yeah, you compare it to over there, that has it too. What about that side? Okay, so that's a little oddity that I haven't necessarily seen before. These have always, in my impression, been darn near perfect. That's the first time I've seen kind of a dimple like that. I think that kind of needs to get dialed in and massaged a little bit, to say the least. I understand that's a complex piece, but if you're going to do it complex, you got to execute it well. So some issues going on there. Wonder what the whole situation is. Nonetheless, moving down here to the rest of the seat, you have this very interesting stitch inside of here, perforated, so you have cooling and heat in these. Just love the little subtle accents they do. The blue stitching here, copper, and then all of this piping, super nice. Rivian also switched to all of this being plastic in the new generation 2 instead of kind of this rubberized painted piece. It's really interesting how they've designed these seats, because some people sit with the seat like this and they get in and that's the first thing you see, how large open this is, and it's kind of sticking over that. Honestly though, if you just have the seat like that, a real non-issue. It is weird too, I'm seeing this area where you have, you know, 4 components come together. You've got this kind of hard area that's protruding out right there. Man, I feel like some of these seats that I've seen in the past have been like near flawless, and we're starting to see some strange things here. I don't know if that's just that this is brand new and this will kind of wear in, but you can see it's really protruding up compared to back here. Pretty interesting to say the least. Moving down here, love the plaid mats they do in here, and with the quads they actually have all these plaid accents. I'll show you some other ones throughout. Really, really like that touch. Even here, this lower center console area, again, all wrapped in that nice premium material, all stitched up here. They just do such a nice job with it. Check out in here. So this one does not have the cam speaker installed in it. I think my customer actually has that. That'll probably be in there later. Cup holders here. I don't love the cup holders in these. I think they're okay, but not my favorite, to say the least. The other thing that's not my favorite, you'll see here, pretty much everybody installs these for better phone chargers. I think they're still working on another generation there, which is truly, truly crazy. But nonetheless, moving on. Up here, we've got all really nice materials. Again, all of the nice speaker grills in here, all done very well executed. I love that this one shows the launch edition. Again, same feelings here. It just feels great on here. How they go through the wood just feels exceptional. Man, so impressed with their interiors. Really just that seat stuff is kind of weird. We'll get to the drivers and see if that's the same. Screens, software in here, you guys have seen many of it. They do a phenomenal job, the team, and Wasim especially over at Rivian, going through updating software, getting owners to be excited about software updates, which is, you know, for legacy OEMs, not really something you can say. So let's pop over here to the driver's side and let's check this out. So first off, one thing I want to look at, steering wheel here. Steering wheel looks great, and a lot of the new Rivians have had some serious issues with the stitching, the way they fit. This one is darn near perfect. Now, one thing I wish Rivian would do is have a customizable airbag here. The white just kind of is not my favorite. It's the same on the Ocean Coast interior. I wish this was this color or just black. I think it would look a lot better, but that's just my personal opinion. I just would like to see these be swappable. This one also has stitching around here. I will say the lower trim ones look better when this is just a molded piece of plastic, because you'll see some small wrinkles and imperfections like that. But again, they're trying to make this really nice, and I really appreciate that they've done the same copper stitching here as they do over here. all this, again, feels great. They really worked on this door handle situation. I'm trying to make it creak here. Before, you would grab the Gen 2s and you just hear all these creaks throughout it. Very, very nice. Not seeing any imperfections here whatsoever. So yeah, still have the same kind of issue. This one actually looks quite terrible there on the bottom. So Rivian's got to get that figured out. That is just not what I've seen in the past. But again, you can see kind of protruding here. I've sat in these particular seats. I don't really notice it. I think that's a thing that over time that'll kind of wear down, but you kind of see those waves in it. And yeah, 120 grand. I expect that to be darn near perfect. Other than that though, man, just absolutely love their interiors. Let's come back here, open this up. We've also got some friendly gear guard Garys buckled in here. We've got a Halloween version and the normal version. Just love the way Rivian does their kind of merch and accessories. They do such a nice job at it. Now back here you can see we've got the plaid in the headrest, which matches the floor mats. And then up here as well, whoa, in the door handles, in the oh shit handles, you have it on the back, which is just such a nice accent. You even have it down here, and I love how they've done this cloth material on the back side of this. The original one was great as well, but the cloth really pops. Again, just look at the way this is executed. The different materials in here, the wood, the stitching, the different colors. Good job, Rivian. Really, really good job. Not much more to say back here. I am noticing all of this looks actually perfect. You can see on those seats, no imperfections there. That looks really phenomenal. So the front seats need some love, I would say. Other than that though, man, they just kill these interiors. They absolutely do. Oh, one thing I want to show you also. This has the electrochromatic roof, which is actually really, really cool. So if I come over here, sorry for the shakiness, I'm trying my best to film. This one, that one, that's the wrong one, that one. And boom, now you can see the sky. So if I close that, isn't that cool? I love that. I do wish it was a little bit more clear and less opaque even when it's open, but it is pretty darn impressive and actually really helps with heat management and things like that. So overall, really impressed with the interior, other than these front seats, to say the least. Other than that though, they just execute it better than pretty much anybody else. So I think we're at the point now. Let's wrap this video up, give you my final thoughts and feelings. All right, well, the sun is coming out. I'm absolutely melting. I am so not used to humidity. It is 87 degrees out right now and is like 70% humidity, and I am just dripping. So let's wrap up this video. I would say overall exterior fit and finish, Rivian, very nice job. They are really starting to execute these at a high level. Now it's not perfect. There's still some issues. Again, charge port still being one of my main issues. They never feel super premium. They've had some issues, the fit and finish there not being properly aligned, and probably over time that will start to take some paint off on those very tight edges. Other than that though, really impressed. I'd probably give it a 9.5 out of 10. You fix one or two of those little small trim pieces, suck that in a little bit, fix that charge port, we're looking pretty darn nice. And again, this is reiterated from the factory tour we did. It's seeming to me like what they are doing is throughout production of the car, they're doing more and more quality checks instead of doing it at the end of production. Now, the funny thing is when we actually did that factory tour, you know, once the cars even got to the end, I was still seeing some doors not perfectly aligned, things like that. But we have to remember these are mass production vehicles. I don't expect perfection. I just expect, you know, for 120,000 bucks, you're getting a car that you're opening doors and it's not touching paint. That type of stuff, completely unacceptable, like I've seen in the past from Rivian. So I'm glad to see things are definitely getting better. Now, interior, yet again, always blown away by Rivian materials. Again, just want to reiterate, a little disappointed in the fact that on those front driver seats, those little horns in there seem a little off to me. I haven't noticed that in the past. Let me know if your R1S, R1T has those kind of imperfections and wrinkles in the vegan leather in there. Other than that, really, really impressed. Now, I will tell you with NVH, I haven't had the opportunity to drive this particular truck. My experience driving many different Rivians. They're not the most isolating, they're not the most quiet trucks on the road. I'd be very curious to check out these Michelin Pilot Sport S5s in here to see what the kind of noise is from them. My impression is they're probably going to be naturally a little bit louder, but I don't necessarily know if they'll be louder than the all-terrain. So interesting stuff. Nice job, Rivian. Really nice job. I think we're finally at a point where I would say, you know, if I'm buying this for 120 grand, I'd be very happy with the fit and finish. I would probably ask them to replace those, at least topper of the seats. I would assume that's probably a whole seat situation. That's just me, a little particular, but a very cool, nice truck here. And man, I can't wait to see where this company goes. Exciting stuff coming. R2 next year, fingers crossed, hopefully. Can't wait to see it. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in another one soon. Bye-bye.